How hard did you push it till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
All right, here we go. What's happening, municipals? This is Chris and Ashton. What's going on this week, Ashton?
Not much, man. See, I said not much, man. But that's just that. At this point, that's just what we do. So it was definitely a different week.
It's your catchphrase coming into this.
Yeah, snowflake. Got to get that snowflake tattoo. I'm kind of not joking. I think like right here on my right by my collarbone. I think like a little snowflake
that or behind
tattoo.
the ear would be real.
See,
adorable.
you said that when you hung out on Friday. I mean, I want a lot of stuff to be tattooed. I'm not putting a snowflake behind my ear. Granted, at this point, I look like you
should put it on your lip and just let your mustache grow back over it.
That's true. I could write my name across my upper lip at this point and you couldn't see it. But yeah, so it was weird. I saw you 2 days this week. Golf was not involved. We saw each other.
That's rare.
Our better halves got to meet each other, got to eat some little French food. It was really a really kind of lovely way to kind of press pause on golf and get to hang out with you and your better half.
Yeah, we took a little staycation in the city, stayed at Hotel Emblem, which if you're ever in the city, that was a sick hotel.
Not a sponsor, not an ad.
Not an ad.
He just liked it.
I just really dug it. It was great. And I pulled a Chris for sure. And I booked our hotel room on the wrong day. Yep. So luckily they were nice enough to accommodate us and get us the same room for the same price, which was very, very nice of them. It was a sweet couple that was running the hotel together. They're pretty awesome. But it's like kind of a rock and roll library vibe. I don't know if that's really a thing that cohesively comes together, but it worked really well. Like you walk in and it's like books all over the place and there's little cutouts for people to like stand and like Instagram themselves up.
It's thinking like Charles Dickens.
Yeah, and then you go upstairs and like in the rooms, it's got like quotes from rock stars and stuff. I don't know. It was cool. Cool. Definitely reminded me of Portland. But so it was a fun time. Staycation in the city, hung out with you and Liz, which was absolutely a blast, and got some masters in on Saturday. So I don't think my girl was too stoked on it with that rain delay or the weather delay because it elongated the amount of time that she had to sit through an entire round of golf, which never happens.
But babe,
she's usually curled up reading a book.
But babe, with soft conditions, Hideki's hitting it to
We're trying to explain this, but no go. She just started having gene conversations with Liz. So
yeah,
but all worked out.
As great as it was, this is not a podcast about us, is it, Chris?
It is not. This is a podcast about our guest, Marcus. He is a longtime visitor of Bandon Dunes, one of our great friends from the RGC group in San Francisco that we're members of. And me and Ashton both would call him a very close friend. He is just an incredible guy. Marcus, what's happening, buddy?
What's up? Well, my first question is, I guess I wasn't on that invite, but that's cool. It's all right. I only live a half hour away, but that's cool. No big deal. I'll look out for next time. But no, seriously, thanks for having me on. It's good to be on here. I've been listening to you guys. It's just good to be here. Thanks.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. Yeah, we didn't extend the invite to anybody in the RGC. This was a private municipals minus Jack situation. So we couldn't even have a Jack third wheeler situation going on. I mean, he would be asking our girls if they have friends. So that's his go-to. So yeah. I don't know if we could handle that for the couple.
Well, maybe days. I should take Jack out. I'm a really good wingman, so I'll go out when COVID's over and stuff, and I'll find him somebody. So
yeah, but then Jack's gonna be calling you dad while you're at the bar, and it's just gonna be a very awkward situation. And so nobody really knows the situation between Marcus and Jack, but
I'm not his dad.
No, not his dad. But there's a long running joke between the whole group of Jack calling Marcus dad. So and it just
infuriates
Marcus.
I could be his dad age-wise because I think I'm 30 years older than him, or 20 years older than him. But
You would never know by the amount of money that Marcus takes from us on the golf course. I mean, he definitely destroys all of us that are much a little bit younger than him.
That's
Oh
hilarious.
man. All right. Well, so we really wanted to get you on the pod this week because you just came back from your annual trip out to Bandon.
Yeah.
And you have kind of told us a little bit about this trip and how long it's been going on, and you know the group of friends that you've encountered or you've gone on this endeavor with, and you know it's perfect for kind of what we do, on Municipals and the people that we want to talk to and really hear the stories that involve it. Because I mean, if anybody knows, Bandon Dunes is the Mecca of public golf. I mean, it's considered a resort, but to be honest, it's probably some of the best public golf. And I mean, you can speak on it. The best, outside of Ireland and Scotland, it's the best links, golf you're possibly going to, encounter.
Yeah, it's funny you say resort, Chris, because every time I tell people where I went on vacation, I tell them I went to this place in Oregon and it's the resort, but I don't really view Bandon as a resort. I view it as a destination. As I'm it's just gonna be weird, but I say it's the golf Mecca. I've had the fortune to play in Scotland and play Turnberry and Muirfield and St Andrews and Prestwick and all that. And granted, fabulous, amazing.
Municipal goals, by the way. But going to Bandon every year for the last, not every year, but almost every year for the last over 20 years has just been amazing. So it's a special place. And I'm going to keep bugging my wife, and she's in the end of the room, but that I'm going to retire there one day. So, but we'll see if that ever comes to fruition.
Marcus, I'm curious, like kind of the origin, like, do you kind of remember like what was the first time you heard about Bandon, or like how did it originate for you that like you even remember that first thing?
Yeah.
Like, what is that place?
Thanks for asking, Ashton. So I was working at the Presidio golf course because I'm a teacher by trade, but I got so into golf that I just started working at golf courses because I wanted to play free golf. So I started working at Presidio, and a couple of buddies in this is the thing I'm not positive about. It's either 1999 or 2000 that we heard about Bandon, and we said, let's take a Portland trip, and then we'll drive down to Bandon and play Bandon. And that's what we did. So we went to Portland, played a bunch of courses there, drove down to Bandon, and this was when Bandon was just opening. So the driving range, if anybody knows Bandon, was to the left of number 9 at Bandon. Now they have this huge practice facility, but it was totally different. And there was nowhere to stay there. So we stayed at the Bandon Inn, which is in town. The only place you could stay was the lodge, but it was really hard to get a room there. So that's the origin. And I went to one with a couple of buddies and was like, what is this place? And went there and I fell in love. So that was it was either 99 or 2000. I would have to call some friends and find out what exact date, but it was one of those days, one of those.
And at that time, was it just the original? Was it the OG, or were there other courses yet?
No, it was just the OG. It was just Bandon. Bandon had just opened. So I want to say it was 99 because that's when Bandon opened. But there was nothing else there. So it was really a destination. Like if you were going to go to Bandon, we drove 4 hours from Portland, and it was worth the drive for sure.
Interesting. I don't know if you can remember back specifically, but I'm also curious, like, was it a place yet where they're like the tee times? I know they don't stack tee times at Bandon, but like, was it like, wow, there's a lot of people here? Is it like we kind of have the golf course to ourselves?
That's a great question. I would say that it was kind of a middle of that. I mean, people were there. I mean, back then this was 20 something years ago, it was $100, I remember, but I think we got comped because we all worked at the golf course.
Sick.
And then I was a PGA apprentice at that time. So I think I got comped. but it was super chill. People were, what I loved even back then, the customer service and the experience of the golf was as exactly how it is now. You go up there, they know you, they welcome you, they you know, they're just, it's all about the golf, it's all about the customer service, and it was like that from day one.
Yeah, and I think that I think that's something that always really stood out to me, because I've mentioned before, you know, growing up, we were member at a place called Tuscola, which is a Core Crenshaw at Lake Oconee outside of Atlanta. And I remember not knowing what he meant at the time, but when I was a kid, and I told the story where it's like it's literally built into a pine tree forest. And I remember as a kid, my dad being like, we were out there and him like, this place is just about the golf. And I didn't know what that meant, but it's just so obvious to your point where it's like, yeah, if you don't like golf, there's actually no reason to be here, right? I mean, if in Bandon's case, you're getting beautiful views of the ocean, but I think we all kind of love those places where, again, it's like, yeah, I mean, like the steak salad tastes good, but like, that's not why I'm here. It's not like, unless you're Big Randy from No Laying Up, you got to get the Chinese Caesar salad, which now no longer exists. But it's really about golf. So that's awesome.
I would say that where Randy was talking about Bandon Trails, they do have the best food because they have a chef I think he's from Hawaii. And so he has a poke bowl and he has all these different dishes, adobe chicken and all those different things. So it's really, really good.
So speaking of food, what would you say best course or best restaurant on any course? And what is your favorite meal to have every time you go to Bandon?
Okay, so I'm gonna back it up a little bit, and the way we set up our trip is that we bookend it with 2 travel days, and when we go up, like this year on the Sunday we went up, we drive up. This year we drove because of COVID, we didn't want to fly, so we drove up. But the first thing we do is we go into the town of Bandon and we eat at Tony's Crab Shack, which is right on the water, right on the pier. And we just go to town on, you know, lobster rolls, crab sandwiches, oysters, anything you want. That's kind of like our way to start the trip. So we do that. So that's not in Bandon. That's the only meal we have outside of Bandon, the resort. But at the resort, again, I'm going to say that Trails, you get the best food. And Trails has one of the smallest clubhouses too. They have 2 of the best things: best food, and I would say the best pro shop. And Bandon Trails it's neighbors with Bandon Preserve. So the pro shop is both for the Trails course and Preserve. So you got 2 extra things, you know, and each pro shop is unique because they all have their own gear. And the Trails is the only one that has link sole, which is cool. But they have different things. So did I answer your question, Chris? So yeah, best food. Yeah. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So your favorite meal at the resort.
Yeah. So that's Bandon Trails, eating there. And if it's a nice day, eating out on the porch, you're overlooking the 18th on Bandon Trails, and you're overlooking the putting green, and you can see number 1 on the Preserve. And you can see actually Bandon Dunes from there too. It's pretty epic.
That's an incredible spot.
Well, the next question, I was hoping this wasn't even going to come up, and now we have to ask, like, how's the hot dog, Marcus? Have you had it?
Well,
which course has the best hot dog?
I guarantee you Marcus has not had a hot dog from each course. I'm going to go ahead and guess that's the case.
You're not going to like my answer here because every course has such good food that I just don't get a hot dog. I get like a Reuben, or I get like some special burger, or I get something that's just amazing, or a bowl of clam chowder, or, you know, so sorry.
I don't blame you.
I should have tried a hot dog once I went up there, and just to compare and done the one snap, but I didn't do it. So that'll be next time for sure.
Marcus, do you want me to go on the record as your thoughts on ketchup on a hot dog, or you can stay out of it, because I feel like you might get some blowback if you know, I don't know. You can share.
We need every guest take.
I'm an equal opportunity person, so whatever you want on the hot dog, just put it on and eat it. So there you go.
That's what I like to hear.
That's a very neutral answer, but yeah,
that's what I like to hear.
I do appreciate a really good chili dog though. So throw in that chili dog with some onions and cheese, and I'm down.
Yeah, if I'm sitting there, you double up the hot dog with the bun, extra chili, extra cheese, onion on top, ready to go.
I do think we had the conversation on one of our RGC chats that we talked about the burger at Olympic Club, and I know that's a private club, but that burger, it's on a hot dog bun, and it's ridiculous. It's amazing.
It's worth trying to get onto Olympic Club just for that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. Well, Marcus, I'm just curious because, again, I think what I'm so curious about, I've always been fascinated about. Normally, we're in the middle of like trying to play golf when you're talking about it. It's also the origin. So you said when you started off, you were going back with just a couple of buddies, but I get the sense from social media this trip has grown. So how has that evolved over time? How many people are going on this trip? And also, too, what I'm also planning my hopefully first Bandon trip with my dad next year. Not a huge group, but like, how do you deal with the logistics for that many people?
Yeah, so we started with those couple of guys. It was a couple of guys from Presidio, and then I've gone up. Like when Bandon Trails opened, a friend of mine, another Jack, who's a PGA, he was the pro at Presidio. Before they even opened Trails, we went up there and got to play the course before they even opened it. So that was super. And the clubhouse was even ready. It was super cool. And then every year has been this kind of like new kind of beginning for us. And eventually we got to the point where a group of friends of mine, and I've known them now for probably 35 years, we would take up a group of 8, and it was a core group of people, and mainly it was myself and my friend Tony, and then we would bring up a different group of 8, and people would come in, come out, because everybody can't make it every year. And logistically, we just learned through time that, and the thing is, so we base the trip around my spring break. So being in education, I get 2 weeks off every year. It's usually in March. And it worked out perfect because in March, 2 things happen. One, daylight savings times happen, so we get an extra hour, so we can guarantee playing 36 every day if we want to. Second, the rates are still low because April 1st, the rates go up. So, and at Bandon, I don't know if people know this, but you pay the first round and whatever it is, like right now, I think the first round in March was $170. And then the second round is half of that. So 85. And then if you want to go full bore, the third round, free. Now we've done that once because playing 3 rounds at the resort is just brutal, but we have done it before where we had preserve as our last round. So that's what we base it around. So we always go in March, we plan it. Basically, we take the trip in March, and then in about a month, we plan it for next March. So the trip is actually planned for next year already. Unfortunately, I'm not going because my spring break's in April, so they're going to go in. So I'm going to take a year off, but my plan is we're already starting to organize a trip to Michigan so we could go play the dunes. So the original Keiser course, and hopefully Crystal Downs and places like that. So,
which I have a whole list for Michigan as well that I already have planned out for us as well. So
yeah, I want to go up to the Loop. I want to, do all of that stuff. So
do the bluffs.
Yeah. Arcadia Bluffs. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So throughout the years, that's what we've done, and we've kept it to 8. And right now, we have probably a core group of about 6 or 7 people, and then 1 or 2 kind of go back and forth. But
that says there's room for 2 municipals, right? That's what I'm hearing.
I get lots of calls from some friends who I play golf with saying, so when am I going to get invited? And sometimes we do. And one year, one of my friends who I met in New York, we took him and he went on our trip. His name's Neville. And then he didn't go the next year. And then we didn't get an invite after that. And he was like, what happened? I go, well, you didn't go last year, so you're not going to get invited. So no, but anyway, Neville's always on there. But yeah, it's a core group. The great thing about the group is that we all appreciate the courses and how amazing they are. It's just not, it's because it's not resort golf. It's playing the ball on the ground. A friend of one of my dear friends, Rick, he swings, he's a strong, fit guy. He cycles, he does all this stuff, but he doesn't swing more than half a swing. So he hits his long drives are 220 yards and he barely hits it anywhere, but he hits it straight and he hits it low. So when he plays Bandon, it's perfect because he could play the ball on the ground. So his 220 becomes 270, and it's the best thing. And so Bandon is a place where you could have a 20 handicap, and one of our friends, Jesse, is a pro down at Poppy Hills. He's, a +2, and we all play together, and it's amazing. So we just play different tees, and it all works out.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm also curious too, with that dynamic of 8 people. I think that sounds like a great number. How do you guys rotate the pairings? Like, I imagine you kind of want to play with everybody, or do you guys have maybe you put the same for 3 other guys? Like, how do you do that?
So we change it every year, and then this year I was the director of competition this year. One of my other friends, Chris, was the director of food, so he had to figure out food, and everybody else figures out stuff out. So we did a kind of a Ryder Cup thing. We played Vegas, Chris, your favorite game.
Nice.
We had Vegas as one of our games. We had team matches. We had high-low. We played all kinds of different guys. We kept track of it. And this is going to sound weird, but our teams were Team China against the world. So there are four Chinese American guys. So that was Team China.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the world was Rick, who's white. I'm not sure what his ethnicity is. Chris, who's Japanese. Jesse, who's Mexican American, and Gary, who's black. So that was Team World, and we played Team World against Team China. And unfortunately, Team World won. But I think I might change it because we're a communist country, so we could just fix it and have it to ourselves. But so that's what we did. It was just a blast, and we used handicaps, and it was great. It was super fun. So everybody got to play with each other. Everybody, had different foursomes, and we moved around. And then we had a couple rounds, like we played Preserve, that we just played as an 8-some, because at Preserve you could play at 8-some. So
That's sick. So when you guys play matches, do you have like a specific app that you use while you're on trips, or how do you keep track of it all?
So that's a great question, because yesterday I was playing, and this guy that we played with works for 18 Birdies, and he told me that you could have a whole tracking thing on there. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known this last week, because I would have, used that app. So no, we didn't. We just kept score. We kept track of it. And we did it to where even though we played Vegas, it wasn't about the point. It was whoever had the most points got a point. So
Gotcha.
Basically the ending ended up.
It wasn't a dollar amount. It was whoever had basically the lowest score at the end got the point.
So we did it, and we did. If you ever watched Chasing Scratch, the pod, we did a thing where everybody put in $50, and whoever won got to go to the pro shop and buy something for $50.
Nice.
So that was really fun. That was a good way to do it. Instead of handing over cash, you got merch. So it was cool.
I like that. So I got a question. So how many guys have you? Which guys have you been going to Bandon with the longest?
So Tony and I have been going the longest. And Tony, he's an old friend that, we've played golf together. We met playing softball of all things. And we played a lot of golf. We actually played so much golf. One year when we were in Bandon, we said we have to find something that's going to signify our match, because we play all the time against each other. And when we were in the Bandon Pro Shop, we found a trophy, and I should go get that trophy. But this trophy that says Bandon, it's a cup that says Bandon Dunes on it. So what we would do is every time we play a match, we would have a little card in the cup, and we would have to write down who won, and we would keep exchanging the cup. The cup has seen its wear, and it's in my room. I'll go get it maybe. But it's super cool. And so Tony and I have been going long. We are the two guys who've been going the longest, and then this latest crew have been going the last 5 years together. But I mean, Tony and I went, I guess, 18 years ago, 20 years ago, something like that. So we've been going on and off since then.
So municipals have a very similar thing. So on our second SoCal trip, we had a ball marker made between me, Ashton, producer Jack, and our buddy Chris Hussey. And so Chris Hussey is known for yelling 4 right, because that's his miss if he's going to miss anywhere. So we had that thrown on the ball marker. We had, very California-esque things, stamped on there. And so now it's our little memento whenever we play matches together. If it's me and just Ashton, or if it's, Ashton and Chris, or all three of us, and Jack, of course, we rotate it around to all four of us to whoever, scores the lowest every time we play. So
yeah,
it's always fun to have that.
I played with Chris yesterday and he pulled out the ball marker. So I was like, oh, damn, you got it now, huh? Because last time I played with you, Ashton, you had it. So
yeah.
Yeah, don't rub it in. Chris has never owned it. I've never had it. It's never been in my possession. So.
Well, the thing with you, Chris, is like, no offense, man, but if you ever get that thing, you need to get more than an hour of sleep. You need to get a good night's rest, and not like, it's just, there's so much with playing golf. There's so much 5 a.m. morning, man. It's like, hey man, I didn't sleep at all. I'm gonna need you to drive. It's gonna be interesting. And I told you that, of course, we get to Dark Horse and Chris and I are partners. He blows it off the planet. He's like on number 2. It's 8 a.m. I was like, God, come here for that hot dog. I'm like, how the hell did I get you these 9 holes? The guy who doesn't sleep, driving his car.
We still won that 9. So
we did.
Half asleep me still beat Jack and Chris. So
the hot dog did it. The hot dog did it, man. The hot dog. It's all about the hot dog.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It is always about the hot dog.
So Marcus, to dive. Oh, sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
No. So my thing was, since you've been going with these guys for so long, you have to have some incredible stories that go along with a lot of these guys. So my thing is, I would love your favorite story with Tony, since you've been going with him for the longest, and then favorite story overall anytime you guys have ever been.
So this is the fun reoccurring story that happens every year we go up. One year we flew up there, and when you fly up there, you fly up to Coos Bay, and Coos Bay is about 45 minutes out,
which also has a really fun golf course that's family owned. Yeah,
and we haven't played there because. And there's a course in Bandon too called the Crossings, and that's a whole nother story. But so we were there, and this is a kind of for adult audiences, by the way. But so we're up there, and I'm not going to name names, and we decided just to stay in Coos Bay when we get there. We get there because we got there late. We're going to stay in Coos Bay at one of the shittiest hotels I've ever stayed in. And I've stayed in city hotels in developing countries, and this was one of the worst I've ever stayed in my life.
I will say there's not a lot in Coos Bay.
There's not. It's a former logging town. There's no more logging company. I think there's one left, and it's a rough place. I mean, it's got its character.
Yes.
So a few of the guys decide to go and spend some time at the Coos Bay, you got it, strip club. So,
oh no.
So,
old logging town strip club. Okay.
I would love to.
All right.
I would love to know what's going through your guys' head right now. Coos Bay strip club.
I'm just thinking logging town and what could come of that with the.
Yeah, so I'm not going to tell you stories about being in a strip because I don't really want to go there, and I don't want this guys to get in trouble. But it's great because it's a reoccurring story that everybody. And I got to figure out what it's called. Bandon. It's called I forget what it's called, but it's called some funky name, of course. And it comes up in every trip, and it's like, oh, are we going to go up there? I'm like, hell, and I'll tell you. I didn't go because I was just so tired that I was just like, I'm just going to stay here and sleep. And they came back, and it was just pretty classic. So that's the funny story. The cool story is that a friend of mine who passed away a few years ago, unfortunately, at a really young age of 50-something, went up with us on the trip. And he was a golfer, but he was actually a tennis pro. But he wanted to go up there to see what it was about. And he went up there, and he had the time of his life. And I would say that I was just so happy that Ricky, his name's Ricky, was able to go on that trip with us because that's what the trip was really about. It's about friends. it's about the golf for sure, but it's about going with people you care about, and that's one of the great kind of heartwarming parts of the trip that throughout all these years. And selfishly, my highlight is that on the, what hole is it? 1, 2. It's the first hole along the ocean. I think it's 4. I want to say. I had a blind second shot because I had pulled my driver because I didn't want to go into the ocean, and hit a 6-iron and hold out for eagle from a 6-iron from like 185 yards. So it was crazy. Wow. So, but then there's endless stories about being in weather and 40-mile-an-hour winds and have full rain gear on. I mean, that's just the great part about Bandon. Endless trips every year. This year we played sheep, and we were on a 160-yard par, the 16th par 3, 160-yard, hit 4-iron, and I was 30 yards short. Not that I hit it long, but that was a hard win.
That's the only course I've had the privilege to play. And I was lucky enough to play it the first week it was open when we were driving back from when we were staying in Portland during COVID all the way, back down. And I just got very lucky, just called over and they had a slot for a single and popped over, got to play it right at twilight. So I got to see the sunset over 17, 18. And
oh man,
I mean, to this day, it feels like a dream. It doesn't feel like I played it. Cause again, like Ashton says, I'm always sleep deprived, I guess. So, this was definitely, one of those times. Cause I was in the midst of moving, and it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. And it still, like I said, it feels like a dream. It doesn't feel like it even occurred. And I didn't even keep score. I didn't care. I just was so enthralled with the beauty of the place and, how wide open it is. And, Sheep Ranch isn't a huge piece of property. So you can, and it's very flat. So you can kind of see the majority of the property, wherever you're at. And it's just beautiful. I mean, it's hard to explain. I didn't get to see a lot, all the other properties or, any of the other courses, but just from that experience, it's teased me so bad that, I've been, dreaming of getting back up there.
Yeah. And Sheep has the coolest range too. Did you go to the range when you were there, Chris?
No, I literally pulled up 20 minutes before our tee time, went right out onto the course and played. So I didn't get to really check anything out.
It's the only course with its own range. So because it's a little farther away than other courses, and it's just enclosed and it feels super cool. And it's just an awesome little range, and it's not even little, it's huge compared to anywhere else.
And the logo is sick. They killed it with that logo.
Yeah, definitely. I love their logo and the ghost tree. Those are the two logos I love the most.
I mean, Sheep Ranch's logo kind of reminds me of Goat Hill too, and it's just it's very simplistic. There's not a lot to it, but it's just like that simple sheep logo. It's just perfect.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So favorite. Okay, Ash, go for it.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I was going to say, so I think one thing that I specifically don't want to do on this podcast is I've listened and I'm signing up for it, but like they talk a bunch about holes and like, I've never played there. I mean, I've seen these videos, but I don't know. So I'm more curious for you kind of in just like layman's terms, like ranking your courses and maybe saying why, like I've heard the knowing up, Randy loves sort of the vibe of, I mean, we all have our different reasons for liking courses. So I'd just be curious for you to, with the acknowledgement, they're all amazing, right? But like, which ones resonate with you and kind of in which order?
And that's where I was going next to.
Simpatico.
Yeah.
You guys are just like in tune. So I would say that, first of all, I would say it changes all the time, because every time I go up, like when I first played Trails, I was like, oh, it's an inland course. But oh my gosh, Trails is phenomenal.
And they're constantly having the architects out there and kind of adjusting a lot of the courses too.
Well, in Corin Crenshaw, all the architects have gone out there multiple times and changed the course. Like, for instance, the 14th hole at Trails is this downhill 325-yard par 4 that when it first opened, you couldn't even hit the green with a 70-yard shot because it would bounce off and go off the side. They've moved things around. I finally made a par there because I almost drove the green, and I was just like 4 feet off the green, and it was great. But I think you guys saw it. I'm not laying up on 14th tee box. There's the best bench on the property because it overlooks everything, and you could just sit there and it'd be amazing. So going back to the courses, it changes a lot, and clearly when I first played Bandon, it was Bandon, and when every course was developed, it's a new kind of love, right? And if you take one of those courses by themselves, it would be one of the best courses you ever played. So that's the hard thing. So ranking them is hard, but just because I just played it, Sheep blew me away. It was just awesome. It was a cool experience. They have these infinity greens where you feel like you're going to go off the edge. The first hole is it shares another green with oh my gosh, it's the 16th hole. Yeah, 16 and 2 I think share the same green. I'm probably getting it wrong, but stuff like that I love, because when you go play in like Scotland and things, you have blind shots, you have all these things, and Sheep has a little bit of everything. And depending on the wind, you could just eat you up. And you don't keep score, and it's okay to do that. Just play match play. So I just love that. So I would say that, right now I just think so highly of Sheep. I was super impressed. And then I guess, it's just a hard thing. I love trails. So I'm going to go trails next. Trails is just a phenomenal course. It's just such a great layout. It's a hard course, but it's a fair course. And I think that if you ever go up to Bandon, it's about playing the right tee boxes. I used to think, I'm going to be, Mr. Stud golfer and always play the back tees, and I would just always suffer. And then we moved up one year, and it was just like, this is really fun, and you could actually score, and it was like all these different things. And then I think I would go with Pacific. Pacific is just special. It's a really cool, quirky course. It makes you hit every shot. You play it off of punch bowls. You do all these things. There's so many holes you could play in different ways, and you have the ocean clearly. And then I'm going to go with, and I'm going to say Bandon Dunes. I mean, it's the OG, so you can't, go wrong with that. And I'm going to put Old last, but the thing is, it's like Old McDonald is a super fun course. I love Old McDonald, with the ghost tree, with everything and the history behind it. But then if you take the Preserve, a 13-hole par 3 course on its own, if you put that here in California, it would be one of the busiest courses anywhere, because it's just they have a 60-yard hole there, and it's awesome. It's a punch bowl. You hit over a little dune. It's the funnest thing in the world. I mean, and then the 18th hole you can hit with a putter. It's a super cool. You guys probably seen that online somewhere. But yeah, I hate to rank them, and if you talk to me next year, I'll probably change. Or if you talk to me in a week, I'll probably change. So they're just all amazing, and I would say if you can play them all, if you go visit Bandon, and just do it right, play every course, punish yourself with 36 a day. We've got a good recipe for our order of courses that we do, because we're old.
Do tell.
So we're all well, not all of us, but most of us are over 50. So, and we're walking because you have to walk. And so we have this kind of way of the courses that we play and the order, so we don't get too tired.
What's the order? Because also I'm gonna be going with my dad, who's 55. So I gotta.
Oh my gosh, your dad's 55. Oh my gosh, your dad's 55. I'm 54. September
11th, 1965. Yeah.
I can be your dad too. Anyway, so
I was gonna joke. You said your first year was 99. I was 7. Yeah.
At least I was a little older than that. So
Yeah. 65. I was born in 67. So there you go. So the order this year is that this is what we did. So Sunday we get there, like I said, we go to Tony's, and then we go. So this is so their practice facility is world class, and they have two ranges basically. When you're on I think it's the one side, I call it the left and right, because there's this gargantuan putting green. When it's on the left side and it's open, the right side driving range is actually, you can use it, and it's called Shorties, and it's a 9-hole course that you could just go out and play, and you could put some money in a donation box there, and it gets donated to, I think, Junior Golf or something like that.
Love
and
that.
Take a couple clubs and you go out and play out there. And you can do that. So we do that. We did that on Sunday. That's how we start off our trip. Hit some balls, play shorties. If it's nice
Cruise
weather,
in.
What's that?
Like kind of cruise into the trip.
Yeah. So we take our time. And then on Monday, what we did this year, we played Bandon Trails first, because that's the hardest course to walk. So we played Trails, and then we played Bandon Dunes in the afternoon. So we played 36 on Monday.
What a day.
And Bandon Dunes, it's not the easiest walk, but it's a flatter walk. So it's not as bad. Trails has just got a lot of hills, and it's a challenging walk. It's a good walk. And then the second day we played Sheep, and we chose to only play 18 holes the second day, kind of take a rest day. And then in the afternoon, we went to what's called the Punch Bowl, which is the 18-hole putting course, which is just awesome. You could spend hours there. They have a little shack, like a bar. You can just drink. You see guys, groups of 20 going out there and having money games. And it's just phenomenal. So that's another thing that you should do when you're there. Go play the Punch Bowl and just have fun. That's on the Pacific Dunes side. And then on Wednesday, we went and played Hack in the morning. And then we went and played the Preserve in the afternoon.
Okay.
And so that was awesome. And we took literally 3 hours to play 13 holes, because on a par 3 course, because we played as an 8-some, and they have a bar there too. So you can stop and get a drink and have whatever drink you want and just have a great time.
So to be clear, Marcus, you want people to know you're not a slow player.
Oh, no. And we could talk to Fabian about that. But
he is going to love that one. Fabian Kevin Na Aguilar.
Yeah, I like playing 3.5 rounds. So that's my wheelhouse.
Which I witnessed. Me and Ash and actually our buddy Hussey pulled up to Sharp Park one time, and Marcus is finishing 18, and our tee time was at 8:30. And so Marcus easily had to have gone out there at 6, probably played 2 holes in the dark and finished in 2.5 hours by himself.
Yeah, and actually that day I only played 9, but I teed off at 7:15 and I was done by 8:30 for 9 holes. So
yeah,
there's no reason to play slow. No reason at all. So
we're all about that.
Yeah, and then Thursday we played Old McDonald in the morning, and loved that. And then we played Sheep again in the afternoon. So we got in all the courses, and then Friday we hung out. We took a picture with Shu, who is the director of happiness there, Outside Happiness.
Oh yeah, I saw him on the Knowing Up video.
I heard everybody needs to meet him.
He's a phenomenal human being. He remembers our names. He treats us like, we're VIPs, and we're nothing close to VIPs. But super nice. If you ever go to Bandit, introduce yourself to Shu, and he will treat you like a VIP. That's just one of the great people at the course. So definitely. So and then Friday we go to every pro shop and just kind of buy everything. And then
see, that would be my problem. That's where I'm going to get in trouble with my wife.
Oh my gosh. It's insane. And this year we finished the trip by going to the Labyrinth, which is this labyrinth that's on the course, because there's all these hiking trails, and the Labyrinth is It's a labyrinth, and it's copied off of a cathedral somewhere in Europe, I think, or something like that. But it's dedicated to Howard McKee, who was one of the original developers of Bandon. And if you watch NLU's video, they talk about Howard McKee, and Keiser talks about Howard McKee, who got all the permits to build Bandon, and he was the kind of local guy there. There's McKee's Pub at Bandon, which is at the Bandon Dunes Golf Course. But another thing, highly recommend, finish your trip on that, because you walk in about 300 or 400 yards into the woods, and there's this labyrinth that's it'll take you like 10 minutes to walk through. But it's peaceful, it's beautiful, and it kind of just makes you realize why it's such a special place. So definitely, Ashton, you and your dad should go walk the labyrinth and go do it. It's super, super cool.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I think this is selfish because, I mean, the whole one big thing is like thinking about planning the trip is, I think, you having such a blueprint. I think for a lot of our listeners too, I know Bandon has got to be something aspirational, but it feels, I mean, I've heard the customer service is amazing. I've heard they help you, but like, even though I want like my first time, I want to do it right. So I think this is all really helpful nuggets. I'm also curious, Marcus, one thing that you've said when I've asked you before, another little tidbit that you shared with me is, I know Chris might actually feel differently. You tell people to stay on property. Why is that?
So because you don't have to, the reason is you don't have to leave. You could stay on property. They do such a great job. You could park your car and never get in your car for a week if you stay for a week. They shuttle you everywhere. The food's there. Non-COVID times, they have a restaurant at every course. They have a cigar bar. They have all these different things to do there. And you just don't have to leave. And nothing against Bandon itself, the area, because there's lots of stuff to do if you want to go do it. But there's so many things to experience at the resort that there's really no reason to leave. But only thing I would say is go into town and go to Tony's. This isn't a pitch for him for the restaurant, but it's just a great place to go and see a little bit of what Bandon is. There's a couple restaurants in Bandon. We had a good pizza place when we went, but last week. But it's just when you're there and you're at the resort, you don't have to leave, and it just makes it so nice. There's so much to do there. And
it sounds like you can really unplug.
Totally. And the Wi-Fi sucks. So, or the cell service sucks. So it helps with the idea of, unplug, enjoy yourself, enjoy the friends you go with, or, as you're talking about, go with your dad and just enjoy it. I mean, you can go for hikes and go anywhere, and you can walk all over the place. There's so many things to do there. And
it seems Bandon is, comparatively to, places like, Stream Song and Pinehurst and, some of these other big resorts that we know of, it's a lot more affordable because like you were saying, when you go in March, it's $120, $140 to play. And then if you play second round, they cut it in half. Third round, it's free. I've never heard that, at Pinehurst or Stream Song in just one round at Pinehurst at one of, the courses that aren't necessarily the name, the ones that people go out there to play are still close to 200 plus. If you want to play Pinehurst number 2, I've heard it's like, the price, it's $500. It's more than going to play Sawgrass or Pebble Beach.
Yeah, and you play Bandon, and if you think about it, you've got 5 courses. I want to say, you could fact check this one, but I think all 5 courses are in the top 50 public courses in America. I mean, in one place, it's just ridiculous. And then you have the Preserve, which is phenomenal itself. And I mean, it's I had to say affordable, but it is affordable.
But, if you for under $1,000 for a 3 or 4 day trip, you could make that happen.
Yeah. So we go from Sunday to Friday, and it was about a $2,000 trip. Okay. With golf, food, lodging, rent a car, all that. So that's a pretty darn good deal. That
still might be out of the range of some of our listeners, we've talked about some of our SoCal trips, costing us between $600 $600 to $750 with rental car and everything. But that's also playing, not the highest ranked or top notch courses throughout where most of them are very local public courses that we play. These are all, like you just said, top 50 golf courses ranked, worldwide. And $2,000, if you really are trying to save up and plan a really, amazing experience, I think that is extremely affordable. I mean, you're doing Pinehurst, you're tripling that.
Yeah. I'm a school administrator, so I'm not making any money. So,
yeah.
so I save every year, and this is my trip, and this is what I do, and it's just kind of like and yes, it's not affordable everybody, but I would say that you could cut it down if you just don't play all the courses and you make it a 2 or 3 day trip, and you kind of go back and forth. And a couple of our friends, Kanan and Aaron, they went up because they visited someone there, and I think they played 3 courses. But yeah, you could do it, cheaper. We just choose to do it because this is like an annual thing, and we're all we're at an age where we can afford it, and it's okay. And when I was younger, it was like, we would try and do everything we could to cut costs.
I'm sure you could get an Airbnb and split it between 8 guys and really make it, cut the cost as much as you can, pack your own lunches when you go to play every day, save the money eating at the resort. I mean, there are ways to do it, and the golf is your main expense. There, you can make it happen. And as long as you cut courses, but like you said, when you get to a, level in your life where you can go and enjoy yourself and not worry about it, why not?
Yeah. I'm almost playing the senior division in tournaments. So, we're I got one more year, 55.
You're almost at a mid-am.
Yeah.
See, the funny thing for my dad is I've talked about him before, but he sort of lost some of his golf pump because he feels like he can't putt very well. But he actually is getting his golf pump back because he's in the senior division. Because my dad's very, very fit and hits it pretty long for what's labeled as a senior. But now he's excited. He's like, shit, put me up 2 tees up and let's go.
Yeah.
So he's been really hyped, and he's actually been practicing a lot to try to qualify for, senior stuff, which is, it's just nice to see him. Cause we sort of had this inverse relationship where it's he's cared about golf most of my life. And he's cause I've talked about it before, they go on a trip called the Ross, where they go play a different Donald Ross track.
Oh, nice.
Doing this for 30 years. And as a kid, I wasn't going to ask who Donald Ross is. I'm like, cool, man, I'm going to go watch LeBron on the Heat and eat cereal. And that's what I was doing. But now, I'm like, oh my God, the idea of this is, but now I'm trying to get the pump back, and I'm really hoping that the vibes you've talked about on Bandon, because my dad is very much wants to walk, wants to play fast, wants to be disconnected. I'm actually hoping that the Bandon trip will put a lot of wind in his sails.
Yeah.
Because it just sounds like exactly what he's a true golfer, and I think that it'll really resonate with him.
Yeah, he's gonna love it. And I would say this, Ashton, this is something, I always get asked when I talk to people about Bandon, they talk, should I take a caddy? So Bandon has one of the best caddy programs I've ever seen. The only time I took caddy is my first year, and I haven't taken caddy since because I think I know the courses and things like that. And they have great caddies. They do a really good job. Although Aaron and Kanan said they didn't have a good caddy. But everybody I've talked to, they have, the caddies are really good. And they take pride in that. And I would say that for your first time, it's kind of worth taking one caddy and having them double loop for you and enjoying that. If you don't take a caddy, they have these, they're called rickshaw carts, where they have those big wheels, and they're really easy to move around because there's no cart pass at Bandon. So you're pulling your cart, on grass or fescue or on sand. So your
normal push cart probably doesn't work that well.
Yeah, I see a lot of this past time we went was the first time I saw a lot of people with them, because I think they probably drove down from Portland or from parts in Oregon. But there's parts, especially at places like Pacific, that walking from there's stairs. So if you've got I use a click gear all the time. If I have my click gear, I'd be like cursing the whole time because going up those stairs in sand would not work. But when you have the rickshaw with the big old wheels, it's really easy to carry up the stairs.
So you would say first time, like my dad and I like share a caddy, like something like that?
Yeah, I would say take a caddy. I think it's $100 and you give them, I think the going rate is 120 with tip per round, but they're really knowledgeable. Do a little research before you go, get some recs as far as what caddies to take.
What's the guy Tron loves? Skunks? Oh, squid.
Squid.
I bet because of no laying up, Squid's probably booked out till like 2040.
Yeah.
I mean, when those videos are getting 120,000 views and the one caddy's name is mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
You can try.
So, but I would say that, 9 times out of 10, from what I've heard, as far as caddies, they're really good caddies. They're solid.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
Cool.
What I would really like to know, so has the actual atmosphere or, the place changed over the years, because it has become more popular. When it first came out, I don't think a lot of people knew about it. It was kind of the hidden gem, in Southern Oregon, right on the coast. And, over, I would say the last 5 or 6 years, because of, social media and a lot of these people like NLU going out there and, creating this content about it, have you seen, a change of vibes out there or kind of, the actual atmosphere?
Yeah, definitely. It's changed. You see a lot of really big groups. I mean, groups of 20 are not, they're kind of normal there. So there's these huge groups. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just, it's different. When we went up as 8, it was usually like, that was a lot of people, but now 8 is kind of like of the norm. You do see singles who go up there and things. It's a place, it's got like this is the first time I noticed that it was really crowded. I never felt that in the past as far as it being so crowded. So it's gotten a lot more crowded. But rounds are always in like the 4.5 hour round range. It's never slow out there. Rarely do you ever deal with any kind of like really, really slow players. So that's nice as well. But the vibe is still, people, you still have to, it takes some effort to go there. So people go there and and I wouldn't say it's like I've been to Pinehurst, I've played number 2, I've done all that stuff. It's not like that. It doesn't feel like a resort. That's why, earlier I said, it's really hard for me to even call it a resort. And plus everything that goes along with it, as far as how it's situated and, like the clubhouse is not out on the water. Like if you ever listen to David McKay Kid, he's like, we're not putting that out there. So and all the places where you stay are kind of in a little bit. So the vibe has changed, but I still think it's got its heart and it's, everything about what, Keiser wanted. It's still there. So, which is really great.
Yeah. That's awesome. Chris, anything else you can think of?
Yeah, I had one more. Basically, it was you pretty much touched on it. Secrets to planning Bandon trips. So, kind of what you touched upon was you almost want to plan it a year out.
Yeah, and I would say that you want to do as much planning as you can beforehand, and as early as you can. And I would say I'll tell you that the people at Bandon are super, super accommodating. So if like Ashton, if you call and say, hey, my dad and I want to come play, these are the dates, these are the courses, so forth and so on. They will basically tell you everything and set you up and take care of you. It's 100% customer service. The earlier you can start planning, the better. They do take a deposit down, which is fine, and you could get that deposit back. I think I don't know what the days is, maybe 30 days or whatever. But yeah, plan ahead. I don't know if they're going to be building any more courses. When we were there, they're building more places to stay. They got a whole new building going up by the trails, but I'm not sure if they're building more courses. But it's everything's there. Plan early. Get in touch with them. And look at. So I've had friends who have gone in November. I've had friends who have gone in the summer. I've had friends like we go in March, and every time of year, you never know what's going to happen. In the summer, I don't know if you watch the USAM, it was in the summer and they had 40-mile-an-hour winds and it was brutal,
Just
right?
eviscerated. Yeah.
And in the summer, that's what happens to them. It might be nice out and the weather, the temperature might be good, but that's when the winds pick up. In November, my friends just went last November and 60 degrees, no wind, and it was perfect. We went.
And that's a hint I got when I played Sheep Ranch, because I asked them, what would you recommend best time, to come out? And they said best rates, best weather, best everything are November.
Yeah, and the second best is probably March because the rates are a little bit, just a little bit more expensive, but cheaper than summer. And the week we were there a week ago, we had one day where we wore polos only, which was crazy because we were like, oh, it's sunny out. We don't need to have layers on. And the only thing that really got us was the wind one day. But other than that, we got a little bit of rain. But when you have decent rain gear, you're fine. Don't bring an umbrella because their umbrella is useless there.
I'm sure the wind just makes it a hassle.
It's just gonna blow away. If you can get some decent rain gear, bring lots of golf balls. Actually, you don't lose a lot of golf balls. It's very friendly in that sense. I mean, I don't know what your experience was, Chris, at Sheep, but there's really not. It's so open that you don't have unless you're hitting into the ocean. But
and even the fescue is kind of off to the off the beaten path where you don't really end up dealing with it too much.
Yeah, I always bring him a bunch of balls, and I end up not. I use like one ball around. So
yeah.
We'll see when I play, there are fans, and so the fans knock the ball back. They knock the ball back into play and also find it for me, so I'm good. The ghost of Tyler Scarfacci's grandfather is just going to grab my ball and pluck it, right on the green.
Oh my god!
Do you guys know Tyler Scarfacci's grandfather plays golf? Do you guys know that? Do you guys know that? Have you heard that before? Have you also heard that Tokyo really likes golf? Do you know that?
Yeah,
stuff I didn't know.
They like golf in Japan. Yeah,
crazy.
Well, I just found out Kevin Na is Japanese and not Korean, according to yeah.
No,
you didn't see that?
No, but they said that someone's.
No, you misinterpreted the chat. Jack thought that the guy in Golf Channel was saying that Kevin Na is Japanese, but then that's not what he said. Granted, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't put it past
him. That's why I kind of just glanced past the conversation and didn't question it because I was like, that makes sense with the crazy white media.
Yeah, I was listening to Pardon the Interruption, which is a little bit hot takey, and they were talking about the impact on golf. Again, Wilbon has some stuff he's great about, but he was saying that talking about the driving ranges in Tokyo, Wilbon's, because he's like, there's no golf courses in Tokyo, and I was like, I know that's a city. There's no way that's true. Like, it's so crazy. It's like all these people are just like, Hideki's from Japan, and now we're just going to start saying all this random stuff that is like, I mean, you guys, have you been to Tokyo? Tokyo's like 20 times bigger than New York. I'm pretty sure there's a golf course somewhere. I don't know. It's nuts.
Well, I mean, they do play the Zozo out there, so I don't know
and they're having this thing called the Olympics there this summer.
Yeah, and they're playing golf in the Olympics, so I don't know how much.
I'll tell you all I want. The narrative I'm going to put out there and hope that I'm right. There's been so much content about, oh my God, Hideki's Champions Dinner, omakase style. I want Hideki to be like, I want a motherfucking cheeseburger and fries. Like, all these white people are like, oh my God, it's going to be the best omakase. It's like, I kind of get the vibe that Hideki like pounds beers and like eats cheeseburgers. Like, I want a bacon cheeseburger from
Hideki. He's a big boy. He is not just pounding.
Yeah, did you see the AM pictures versus now? I'm like, Hideki's head is like twice as big as it was.
Yeah, Hideki's gonna have big ass Wagyu steaks and the whole 9 yards and everything there. So
yeah, I love that they all went to like, oh, there's gonna be sushi. I go, well, that's not an assumption, is it?
Well, Tiger did Californian sushi when he went and did his whole dinner in 2019. So
Well, I still want. They were talking on Shotgun Start. One of my favorite things from last year is the rumor that Tiger really likes Chili's fajitas. So they were saying that Tiger flew up the chef in his private jet from Jupiter, that his like Chili's, and he's like, no, make them this way, like those like really fluffy tortillas. Like I just love the idea that Tiger, more money than God, and he's like, no. I want Chili's fajitas at my champion dinner. I hope that's true. I don't know if that's true.
I hope it's true, because that probably disgusted all members of Augusta and the actual chefs, the staff that cooks food there was probably just beside themselves, and they couldn't do anything about it because it's fucking Tiger Woods.
Fred, what do you think about the diversity of the menu tonight? Well, nothing's perfect. We're making let's just have Gary Player's son marketing golf balls.
Oh, God.
Finally elder. So getting all the takes out tonight.
Oh my gosh.
So a couple more questions for Marcus before we sign off.
We got Marcus. We're past Marcus's bedtime, man.
I know.
So you did talk about playing the Dunes course, another Keiser course.
Yeah.
Out of all the architects that have designed courses at Bandon, who and where are you most excited to play next from those architects?
Great question. I have come to fully appreciate Core and Crenshaw. I think they are...
Which we have one coming up north.
I think, yeah, exactly. They are phenomenal. But I just like I like them as, general course architects. I think they're doing amazing work. I love the quirkiness of Doak though, because he does weird things, like 2 par 3s in a row or stuff like that. That's just fun, and if you talk about Mecca Kid, you can't get past that, man. He was like 20 something years old and designed Bandon Dunes. I mean, holy crap.
Crazy.
Like what the hell is going on there? But yeah, I think Core and Crenshaw, I really appreciate the work that they do. I mean, it's just an amazing experience. I mean, when you guys get the chance to play trails, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't been able to experience Core Crenshaw course yet, but from what I gather, it's very similar to kind of what we experience at Gil Hance tracks, where it's very natural feeling. It feels like the landscape created the course and not the architect creating it. And that's something that I have grown to really love and appreciate. And I think we're seeing it more and more come into a lot of the new courses that are being built, where, a lot of people are trying to find the sandiest landscapes they possibly can to build a lot of these new courses, in Sand Valley and a lot of the stuff that's popped up in Wisconsin and Michigan and, the whole Midwest kind of thing. So I'm kind of with you there. And I'm really, really excited to kind of get out and play the new Ben, Core and Crenshaw course, up just, in Napa Valley. Brambles.
Is that what it's called? It's called Brambles?
Brambles.
I think it's Brambles Golf on Instagram. Yeah,
it is. And then,
I mean, that's where, again, I just feel so, I just feel like I didn't know what I had. I mean, like my formative golf memories were on, at the time, I think Tuscaloosa opened up in 97, and its first year, it was the number 21 golf course you could play in the country. And that's like, I didn't think anything of it. It's like, we're just going to go out and play 9 holes. And like, now I think about the golf being discovered. It's like 100%, even the vibe, right, of like, it's in a pine tree farm. It's like they cut out the holes and then they left everything else alone,
I mean, it's the best way to go about golf. Like we were just talking about last week with Timber Creek. It's, it is what it is with a lot of those 90s, track home courses that were built. And, we've got a ton of them in Northern California and Southern California. And there's some good courses out there that are fun to play and you can get them in affordable rates, but absolutely nothing beats the Astral Fescue built courses that are coming out, as of late. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. it was absolutely incredible to hear kind of your whole take on Bandon. And I know it got me fucking stoked to get out there and get this trip planned. I know Ashton's getting one going with his dad, but me moving to Portland, I have no fucking excuse not to get down there and get it in as much as I can.
That's my dog. Sorry.
Oh, I think it's potty and bedtime.
Well, see, the dog knew. It's like, Dad, it's 9:58. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing over there?
Exactly. Why am I?
What's the dog's name, Marcus?
His name's Blackie.
Blackie.
He used to be black, and my son named him Blackie because he was black. So we just went with it. And
there you go.
So we have Blackie and we have Marley. We have 2 dogs.
There we go.
Yeah, but Blackie's kind of gray now. He's not black anymore. So
we'll call him Gray.
Yeah.
Gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marcus, but thanks a bunch, man. This was super helpful. And again, I'm going to use this stuff when I talk to my dad or when I kind of book this trip. And also I get to, we also do like where you playing. I know I'm playing with you on Sunday at the Presidio. So I will see you there.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks for doing this. And Bandon, I just love talking about Bandon. I love talking with you guys.
And we need to get up there with you. If it's not with your group, maybe a second, separate trip, maybe smaller, get up there. I would love to be able to experience it with somebody that has had that much experience up there.
Yeah, that would be epic. That would be the trip.
Yeah. That would be good for maybe the week, because I think what Chris said, the ideal time is that he pointed out was the weekend before Thanksgiving. So we could do that, even make it like literally a weekend trip before the holidays. Like we're gonna go sneak in, 3 rounds.
Marcus might have that off being an educator, because usually they give you the week prior to Thanksgiving off. So,
and last thing I'll say, am I on there, you guys? I'm gonna break it up.
No, you're good. Chris just turned into a robot right there.
Okay. But I'll say the last thing is that if you have the means and if you have the ability to do this, sometimes it's just paying attention to the weather and going, oh shit, it's December. It's going to be nice for 2 days of Bandon. I'm going up and just go play a couple cards. I mean, it's worth it to do that. I mean, I've known people who have done that. They follow the weather, and especially Chris, when you're living in Portland, man, it's like going to Tahoe. If you know it's going to be sunny for a couple days, or if it's going to be just decent weather, go up there and just spend a weekend there. I mean, you can do that now in Portland, but I'm
cool. So excited to kind of be back up there and being able to explore, Oregon a little more. I've gotten to, get through most of Portland and, northern, part of Salem all the way up to Seattle. I've, probably played 30 to 40 courses up that area.
Yeah.
But I haven't really got to experience anything, west of I-5 in Oregon. So got to get out there, got to get some more Bandon in and make it a regular thing.
There you go.
All right, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Again, great times. Thanks for talking. Take it easy, Munic pals.
All right. Peace out. See ya.